What's up, YouTube? Brian here with Team D-Boyz Infinity, and today I'm bringing you my regional deck profile and a little tournament report afterwards about how I did. So I failed to top again this time, unfortunately, but the deck performed very well. So this is obviously my updated Metalfoes list I've been talking about. I decided to take a break from the deck when Kieran got banned. Um, we kind of were lacking a boss monster without Kieran until Maximum Crisis came out. I'd always planned on playing Masterpiece in the deck, along with like a Zodiac engine, but with some recent changes to the list, I decided to cut the Zoo engine. I tested it. I didn't really like it. I mean, I could have played the Fusion sub, but it was honestly more of like extra deck space. I wanted to have a freer extra deck, and I felt like I couldn't do that with all of the Zoo Xyzs. And now with the new June 12th list, I feel like this deck will be a build like this will be a lot better going forward. I think this is definitely a sleeper deck for the NAWCQ. I performed pretty well with it yesterday, and that was in a field full of a lot of full powered Zoo. Um, but yeah, it also Astrograph Sorcerer is coming out, and I really can't wait till that card comes out because it helps with the rank 7 plays as well as like tribute fodder for Masterpiece. It's such a good card in the Pendulum Evolution set. So I definitely think this deck has a lot going for it going forward into Nationals. But this is probably my last big event of the season since I didn't top and get my invite. I won't be at Nationals. But anyway, I'll go ahead and hop into the list and show you some of the reasoning behind why I played the cards I did. But yeah, we'll hop into the main deck. So obviously, we of course play the Metalfoe Pendulum Scales, 3 gold driver, 3 silvered, 3 Volflame, 3 Steelin, and then I still play 3 Bismugear. Mostly because I just wanted to see a handful of scales. Again, like that's one of the big things with Metalfoes, just opening with all scales. So I wanted to play the third Bismugear. I may cut it going forward. Um, it's kind of awkward having 2 in hand, but you can. The other great thing about playing him in less numbers, you can search him when you tribute summon, and then you can have it set up to pop it last to get your search in the end phase. So that's really cool. But definitely when Astrograph Sorcerer comes out, it's gonna be huge because Astrograph is another low scale, and we only have 6 of those right now, and we have 9 high scales. So that's gonna be a huge thing for the deck going forward. Um, onto the rest of the monsters, we play Triple Masterpiece. I want to see this card as often as I can. He's basically like your win condition. Getting those tributes for the free searches is amazing, and then setting him up as your boss monster is really nice. And then I play the Cleafort engine. I tested with the Zoo engine and I liked it, but I didn't want to leave my board susceptible to board wipes. And when I have Dryden Masterpiece, although it's really strong, it can get board wiped fairly easily. Whereas if I played the Cleaforts, I wanted to have a stronger board. So I wanted to have something that could like negate a card effect, like Cyber Dragon Infinity. So that was my rationale behind the Clee engine. And then for the rest of the monsters, I played Hand Traps, 2 Droll Lock, 1 Max C, and 1 Ghost Ogre. I was originally playing 3 Ghost Ogre at locals actually the day before the event, and I decided to swap it out for the Droll Lock. Whenever you're playing against Zoo, the only thing that really stops them is Droll Lock and Maxi, obviously. So the other things they can play through, Droll Lock was actually really nice. It was able to stop all the Zoo players. Like I really only saw it when I played Zoo, which is kind of weird, but it was able to stop them. But then obviously, like if they were able to stop me, then if I didn't have another Droll Lock or a Maxi, like it was game over, and that was like really annoying. But but yeah, it did wonders. I think it was a great meta call to main deck the Droll Locks and decide the ogres. I don't have Ash Blossom, which was kind of unfortunate because I wanted to play her so I didn't lose to grass. But the only grass deck I played. He didn't see it, thank God. But I did have other sides for grass, so I'll get to those when I get to the side deck. Onto the spells, we play 3 Dragonic Diagram because we want to see Masterpiece turn 1, along with 3 Terraforming. The next search spell I played was triple Summoner's Art. Summoner's Art was really important in this build because I wanted to see the Cleaforts turn 1, but I also wanted to see my Volflame because I played the Vortex Absolute Dragon engine in the extra deck for the rank 7 play, and that really is going to get a lot better when Astrograph comes out. But yeah, I really just wanted to see as many of my higher leveled vanillas as possible because they help me go into like really strong stun boards. And then the one ofs was Painful Decision, Metalfoes Fusion, Full Metalfoes Fusion, and 1 copy of True Draco Heritage. Nice to give the option to make them immune to my Masterpiece immune to spells. So, and it pops back row, which is really nice. A lot of times in this deck, your Masterpiece kind of does the dirty work. You summon him unaffected by traps, by tributing combinations, get your searches, and then you pop their traps, their nasty traps like Strike and Anti Spell, and then all those nasty traps, and then it frees up your Pendulum Summon so you can Pendulum Summon without any fear of getting interrupted. So that rounds out the spells. For the traps, I just played triple combination. I thought about running real traps, but I haven't had, ever since Emptiness at the ban list, I haven't really wanted to play a lot of real traps. Hand traps are better. They can be live going first or second, whereas regular traps are only live going first, really. And if I was going to play a regular trap, it would have to be something like Emptiness, where it could potentially be live in the mid game, where if I didn't open it, but I saw it and we got into like a grind game and I cracked my opponent's board, then it's live. I can just flip it with like any Pendulum monster on the field, and then they can't break it. And I can just kind of normal summon with like a beater like Gold Driver and just get at their life points. But yeah, so those are the only main deck traps. I wanted 3. I kind of missed counter a little bit, but I wanted to play 3 combination because it comes up to have all 3 of them, so you can get multiple Masterpiece on board. So that's it for the main deck. For the side deck, I moved the 2 Ghost Ogres over from my main deck to the side. They're really good against like True King Dinos or True Dracos, anything. They're better than like an Ash Blossom or anything where you can hit the field spells, like stuff that needs to be face up. And it actually deals with the problem too, which is a good part about it. And then I sided 2 Lancia. This was for the grass matchup, but when I was at the tournament, I played a lot of True King Dinos, and I was just sitting there, like, when I was siding for one of the matches against True King Dinos, I was like, hey, this card's really good against Miscellaneousaurus, and so I ended up siding it in for some Dino matchups as well. 2 Humongous, level 7 Kaiju, you can Pendulum Summon it, you can make rank 7s with it, and you can use it as a beater, but it also outs problem cards. 2 Forbidden Chalice, cards auto win against Calamities. Being able to shut it off is so big. 2 Cosmic Cyclone. I thought about playing Mystical Space Typhoon as my back row removal because obviously you can pop your own combinations with it. But in the end, I decided not to because a lot of the times your combinations will get tributed for your Masterpiece, so you already have a way of proccing them without MST. So I just wanted straight up back row removal, and Cosmic Cyclone is just a better Mystical Space Typhoon, especially against the True Draco matchup. But also in general, like the one thing that helps this deck out a lot is a lot of people aren't playing as many traps, so you can kind of just like snipe this. I remember I was playing against Dinos at the regional, and he had 1 set, and I sniped a Strike, and I was able to beat him. So, and then I played 2 board wipes, 1 Regeki, and 1 Dark Hole, standard. And then I sided some traps for going first. I played 2 Strike and 1 Warning. 1 Warning is so good because it hits it hits Masterpiece. And then the Strikes obviously are good against everything, but they also help me in the mirror because I can't side a lot of things from the mirror. Obviously, Anti-Spell is I can't play that. but it'll shut me out too. But the thing with Strike is I didn't want to play stuff like Typhoon or something that's more narrow towards the mirror, whereas Strike is kind of generic, and as well as Warning, you can hit multiple things with them. So that's it for the side deck. For the extra deck, I played 2 Orichalc. This was big. A lot of the times I made Orichalc turn 1 because it gives you that pop off of Full Metalfoes Fusion, so you can play 4 disruptions, and that's enough to shut down Zodiac, and it actually won me a game against Zoo when I set up my board that way. Also, this was huge in time. I ended up being in time against Dinos, and he used Lithosogen, and he banished one of the Orichalcs and my Lightning, but I still had the second one, so I was able to go for game over him. And then for the rest of the fusions, 3 Mithrilium. One of the problems I had with playing the Zoo engine is you can't play 3 of her, and I think she's just so good for when you get into grind games. And then 1 Alcahest. I only ever really needed 1. I had a Lithosogium. My opponent played 1 down, and I chained to its effect in hand. I chained Full Metalfoes to get this onto the field, so he couldn't hit it out of the extra. Since it's the only copy I play, so that's kind of nice. Like, you only need 1 against Dinos because you can put it down with the quick play during your opponent's turn. And then I played the Vortex, which goes with my first Xyz monster, Absolute Dragon. It's really nice because you can pop it with Diagram or your Scales, or you can even tribute Absolute for Masterpiece, and then you can get the Vortex. And there's actually a play where you can get Vortex Masterpiece, and then this guy right here off the Cleforts, and you can do that turn 1. It's really powerful. And then for the rank 4s, Utopia and Utopia the Lightning. Auto win against Dinos and Castel. And then the only rank 3 I played was Breaksword. So that rounds out the extra deck. So on to the tournament report. I'll just talk about real quickly what I faced, and then I'll round out the video. So round 1 I played True King Dinos, and he was playing like a very Xyz heavy build. He didn't play the tuner, I don't believe, but the deck, I really liked what the deck was doing. He made like Totally Awesome and like Logia, I think, against me, but I ended up being able to beat him in game 1 using Orichalc over one of his babies. And then game 2 was the match I previously spoke about where we went to time. He banished one of my Orichalc because he didn't want to deal with it, but I had to. So that was really nice. Round 2 I played against Minerva Sworn. So game 1 I just pushed for like big damage on my first turn, and I ended up leaving him with 50 life points, and then I was able to just kill him on the next turn. Game 2, he went first, I believe, and set up a board with multiple Omegas, so I couldn't crack it. And then game 3, he kind of bricked, and I was able to go off with like Infinity and Masterpiece. Round 3, I played against Magispector Magician. So my hope was going into it, if I main the Droll locks, that would be enough to take out Zoo, and if I could beat enough rogue decks, I could end up topping. And this round probably cost me, because I ended up getting 2-0'd by Magispector Magicians. Game 1, I didn't open very strong, and he had a Apex Avian, and that was just enough. Like, literally the 1 negate was enough to shut me down. And then game 2, I bricked really hard, and yeah, he was able to just go off. I had strikes and warnings, but I couldn't really, like, those were only getting me so far. I wasn't drawing into anything to help me. And then he had the Magispector traps to, like, further disrupt me and make my hand even worse. So I was just, like, in a really bad position. Round 4, I played Dino Mist. I went first. I set up a really big board. He was able to get through some of it, and it kind of ended up in a nice little grind game, but I ended up beating him. The deck can't really deal with Masterpiece, so I got Masterpiece on board turn 1, and it was unaffected by traps, which is their main form of defense. So, like, it was kind of like I had the Masterpiece. He couldn't really beat me. Game 2, he went first. He had Horn of Heaven for my Masterpiece, and then he he eventually got a little loop set up with like howling and charge and tearing. So I just scooped because we were getting close to time and I didn't want to have to try and play through it. He was gaining way too much advantage. He just had his engine rolling. And then game three, it started kind of slow. So it was another grind game. It reminded me a lot of playing against Paleozoic. So I had to adjust my playstyle from like back when Paleozoic was like, and Metalfoes were the top two decks in the game. And I had to remember how I would beat Paleo back in the day. So I kind of had to like channel that from a couple months ago. It ended up in like a grind game. I was poking him with some beaters. And then eventually I got a masterpiece to stick to the board. And he didn't have the Horn of Heaven or a warning, so I was eventually able to just start ramming him with a bigger beater, and I ended up winning. Round 5, I played against Draco Zoo. So game 1, he opens broken. Game 2, I opened really broken. I had Orichalc, Masterpiece, and either Infinity or Vortex. I don't remember which one, but I was able to stop like. I only had to use the full Metalfoes to pop his Rat Pure normal summon, and he's just like, I can't play. It was Infinity. It was. He's like, I can't play this. Masterpiece, Infinity. That's ridiculous. So we went to game 3, and he opened well. I think I had a Drolin lock, so he had to pass, but then he had enough hand traps to disrupt me, so I ended up losing. Round 6, I played Zoo again. He went first in game 1 and set up a nice board. I believe I draw and locked him though, so he didn't have all the draws. So I put down my diagram and I was like, if I can bait the Dryden with the diagram, I can still play it. All just hinges on if he has a hand trap, and he had Ogre, so I immediately scooped game 1, not to reveal what I was playing. And then game 2, I went first and I was able to kind of do some stuff, but he had enough hand traps to disrupt like the masterpiece. So I had like a mediocre Metalfoes board, so it wasn't enough for me to stop the. I remember I stopped the Rat Pure normal summon. I stopped Terror Top, and then he had the barrage, and I had no out to the barrage. So that's always the problem. There's three starts that they have, and you can stop 2 of them, and then they come at you with the third, and you don't have the answer. So that's always the problem when it comes to Zoo. And I designed this deck to get at least 3, sometimes 4 stops on field turn 1. And but also, that a lot of that hinges on the die roll as well. So, and it was funny too, because game 2, when I revealed what I was playing, he's like, "Oh, it's you! I saw you playing earlier." And like everyone was talking about this deck, like, because it was doing some like really cool stuff, and everyone was like generally interested in it. So he was like, "Oh, this deck's really cool." But yeah, so again, like I said at the beginning of the video, it does do some good stuff. So I think it's definitely a contender for the WCQ. Round 7, I just was freshly X3, so I'm assuming my opponent was as well, so they no-showed. I'm going to stay through the tournament and play out the rest, but I was kind of disappointed. But round 8, I did have an opponent, and I played True King Dinos, and just like the first True King Dino, I 2-0'd him as well. Game 1, I opened broke. He tried to play through it and couldn't. Game 2, he went first. He opened very well, but I was able to get a masterpiece that was unaffected by monster effects, and I was able to clear his calamities. And then he only had 2 cards left. He had like a Regeki and a Lithosygem, and he used Regeki to clear all but one of my masterpieces. I had 2. And one was unaffected by spells from the Heritage, so that ended the game. So a couple of things I learned. This deck, it destroys True King Dinos. Like, literally, this deck is like Dino's worst nightmare. I don't know, because every time I played that deck, like, it was easily a 2-0. The deck really can't do a whole lot. But yeah, so I also think with Astrograph coming out on June 23rd in Pendulum Evolution, that this deck is going to be a lot better, and I definitely think it's a sleeper for the WCQ. So keep a watch out for it. If you expect to play against it, I would. If I were you, have your anti-spells for this as well as Pendulum Magicians. And if you want to play this deck, I definitely encourage you to try it out. It's really strong, and I definitely think it's a contender. So that's it for the video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below. If you have any questions or comments about the deck, leave them down below in the comments, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching.